Pete Carroll's defenses at USC were some of the most dominant groups college football has ever seen, blending NFL-level concepts with elite athleticism to overwhelm and out-physical every opponent they faced. Today, we're kicking off our first full breakdown of my Legion of Troy defense by recreating the same aggressive 4-3 system that Pete Carroll used inside College Football 25. Now, we're mostly going to be working out of the 4-3 under formation, but we'll also mix in some 4-3 over walk to help give us more options. Now, this breakdown today is just one part of a full defensive series I'm building for Madden 25 and College Football 25. We're dropping 4 total defensive breakdowns covering both the 4-3 and nickel defenses that Pete Carroll built at USC and later perfected with the Seahawks, and we're calling it the Legion of Troy defense. Now, if you want to check out what I've released for this whole scheme, I will link the playlist down below. Now, at its heart, the USC 4-3 defense is all about one thing: overwhelming your opponent at the point of attack. So this defense is built around a 4-3 high base structure, all about controlling the line of scrimmage and dominating early downs. We want to use this setup primarily against teams using heavier personnel groups with multiple tight ends and running backs, where our physicality can shine. However, it's versatile enough to still be effective against spread looks if you want to keep your bigger athletes on the field. Now, during Pete Carroll's run at USC, he consistently fielded some of the most dominant front sevens in college football. They were freak athletes who could dominate the line of scrimmage, rush the passer, and erase runs before they even started. So the front seven controlled the run so the secondary could control the skies. This defense is designed to let us live in single high defenses and mostly cover 3 match and some cover 3 man hybrid defenses, and this allows our safeties and corners to keep their eyes on the QB and go make plays on the ball, our linebackers to match routes underneath, and we can trap quarterbacks into making bad decisions. Then the goal of this defense is simple: stop the run first, then flood the offense with confusion. Everything starts with controlling the ground game out of our 4-3 fronts. Once we've forced offenses in predictable passing situations, we can rotate through a diverse set of single high coverages that all look the same pre-snap, but can create totally different challenges post-snap. And then on top of that, we have a wide variety of man and zone blitzes that we can fire off that can bring heat from a ton of different angles and really helping us limit any big plays we give up. Now, Carroll has always been a defensive back coach at heart, and throughout his career, he's excelled at creating coverage looks that can completely lock down high-powered passing attacks. In our Legion of Troy defense, we're going to do the exact same thing. We'll show the offense one consistent look pre-snap, then rotate and attack them with a variety of different post-snap coverages designed to confuse quarterbacks and erase their top options. FS Fire 3 is our main cross-man coverage at a 4-3 under. This is a flexible call that lets us man up any 2 players on the field while keeping a strong cover 3 shell over the top. It's perfect for locking down key offensive threats without giving away what we're doing pre-snap. It starts by looking like basic zone coverage, but turns into a hybrid man-zone look after the snap, which can completely disrupt the offense's favorite passing concepts. So to set this up, call FS Fire 3 out of 4-3 under. Then you want to man up the walk down safety, and you can man him up on any player on the field. Then you want to man up the linebacker who's in a 3-rack hook, and once again, he can man up on anyone on the field. Then we can shade our coverage up or down to put either hard flats or curl flats on the field. Then we want to use the high safety, and we're going to be responsible to control the deep middle of the field. Now, what makes this coverage so great is we prioritize manning up the most dangerous inside receivers who can attack the middle of the field, and we want to take them away. Now, we can use a cross-man technique where you can man up players on opposite sides of the formation. This is especially effective at taking away deep crossers and post routes, as the offensive players will run directly into their man defenders. We can also do a straight up man technique where you man up players on the same side of the field. This works great for covering vertical seam routes and corner routes and gives you strong leverage towards the sideline. Now, against 2x2 formations, I prefer to man up the 2 slot players to take away quick hitting concepts and anything in the middle of the field. Then against trips formations, I like to man up both slots on the trip side because these guys are going to run a ton of corner routes and a ton of crossers across the field. Now, your user on this play is going to be the high safety, and you must stay disciplined over the top and help on anything you see come open. But if we don't have a vertical threat because they're all manned up, you can get aggressive and you can jump throws that the QB makes underneath over the middle of the field. Then for the zone players on the field, they are really set up to take away the most important areas of the field, and this can lead to a ton of double teams at the catch point with our man coverage players along with our zone players who who are dropping back. Then cover 2 invert is the perfect counter to call with our cross man. We're still going to show that same single high look pre-snap, but now post-snap we can rotate into a 2 high shell. This sudden shift can create major confusion for quarterbacks who think they're going to be attacking a cover 3, leading to hesitation and bad throws into coverage. So to set this up, just call cover 2 invert out of 4-3 under. We want to use one of the outside linebackers in the vertical hook zone, and I usually will do the off-ball linebacker. And then on this, you can also shade down and put your flat defenders into hard flats if you expect a short yardage pass or want to aggressively attack underneath throws. Now, for keys on what makes this work so well is because we're starting in a single high look and then we rotate late, this can really help make the QB second guess himself once he drops back in the pocket and throw into coverage. Then when we use the outside linebacker, we got to be ready to help squeeze any crossing routes or underneath patterns in the middle of the field, while the middle linebacker in the mid read can help take away anything deep over the middle of the field if they try and split our safeties. Now, I really like cover 2 invert on 3rd and longs, or if somebody's trying to hit a lot of vertical shots down the field. And now when they think it's going to be cover 3 and we rotate to this 2 high, we can have a ton of guys just sitting in holes that are not going to be open, and we can take away a ton of big plays. Then Pete Carroll's defenses never just sat back. They mixed coverages with timely, well-designed pressure to keep offenses constantly under siege. Carroll's USC defenses were loaded with elite front 7 athletes like Clay Matthews and Lawrence Jackson, who could explode off the ball and get to the quarterback in a hurry, and we're going to replicate that same overwhelming speed and disruption in our Legion of Troy blitz package. So Sam Crash 3 is our main 5-man pressure call out of 4-3 under. It brings strong side heat while keeping a solid cover 3 shell over the top, and this blitz looks almost identical to our regular coverages pre-snap, making it incredibly difficult for quarterbacks to diagnose where the pressure is coming from, and it's built to force quick decisions and create chaos in the pocket. So to set this up, call Sam Crash 3 out of 4-3 under, bring your 3-rec hook defender down 1 to 2 steps towards the line, and he's going to be our user on this play. Then we want to pinch our linebackers, and that is the setup. So what makes this so effective is we're bringing 5 rushers with a cover 3 shell in behind it, so you're going to still really have solid coverage on the back end behind the blitz. And here we're going to get looping pressure from our off-ball linebacker or the edge rusher coming in free, depending on the protection. And this is an excellent blitz if they're sending everybody out on routes and one of these 2 is going to come home. Now, as the user, you're responsible for the whole middle of the field. Be ready to jump quick hitters like slants, drags, or short crossers. Then we also can shade up or down with our coverage, can put hard flats to lock down those quick throws, or put curl flats on the field to take away some deeper options. Next up, we have Hammer Zero Blast, and this is our all-out pressure call when we want to completely overwhelm the offense. This is a true zero blitz, no deep safeties, pure man-to-man across the board, and everyone else is coming after the quarterback. It's the ultimate high-risk, high-reward call that ensures instant sacks, turnovers, and can force desperate throws when timed correctly. So to set this up, call Hammer Zero Blast at a 4-3 under, shift our D-line towards the down linebacker who's on the line of scrimmage. Then we want to blitz all linebackers, then user the linebacker on the opposite side of the down linebacker and bring him down 1 to 2 steps, then crash our D-line down, and that is it. Now here we're going to be sending maximum pressure, so no safety over the top, so you really want solid man coverage players on the back end. And then if the offense sends all of their receivers out on routes, we're going to get multiple free rushers in at the QB. Then if they block either their running back or tight end, you're still going to usually get a free rusher in, making this blitz super effective. Then as the user, you're going to have whichever player is uncovered in man coverage, and if he goes out on a route, you just want to cover him. And then if your player stays into blocks, and you just want to help cover over the middle of the field. Then if you want to take your college football 25 game to the next level, you need to check out my website, Scheme Kings. Up right now, we have part 2 of this USC defensive video, and I go over 5 more plays on the site that includes another great lockdown coverage, then 4 more really effective blitzes so you can have a ton more variation to throw at your opponent. Then we're going to have a ton more videos coming up for this Legion of Troy defense that will only be found on Scheme Kings, and we also have a dime defense mini scheme up for this defense for Madden College Football 25 as well. Then there's also a ton of different content you can find on the site. We have our super spread offense, where I break down 3 of the most explosive passing attacks in NCAA history and show you how you can run them in College Football 25. We have our triple option offense inspired inspired by some of the greatest option attacks we have ever seen. We have defensive schemes like my Nick Saban defense that works for both Madden and college football, and a complete Bill Belichick career defense tailored for Madden 25. So by subscribing to the site, you'll get full access to all of my Madden and college football 25 content for one price. And you can purchase a yearly membership, which will save you $50 over the course of the year. And I'm also running my Legion of Troy launch sale, and it's going to run until June 15th. Use code PETE at checkout for 50% off your first month if you go with the monthly membership. So if you want to check out Scheme Kings, I will leave a link for it down below in the description. Then while Pete Carroll's defenses have always been known for their aggressive coverage and timely blitzes, everything still started with dominating the run game. At USC, Carroll built his fronts to be gap sound and ultra aggressive, attacking blocks, squeezing gaps, and flying to the football with speed and violence. In the Legion of Troy defense, we're going to stick to that same blueprint. We use smart run fits, heavy fronts, and aggressive safety support to shut down the ground game first and force offenses into uncomfortable passing situations. So cover 4 quarters is going to be the perfect run D for stuffing outside runs while still keeping strong coverage integrity. This is going to give us a 5-man front and ultra fast support from our secondary and linebackers, and it's simple, aggressive, and gives us a numbers advantage in the run game when we need to dominate on early downs. So to set this up, call cover 4 quarters at a 4-3 over walk. Then we want to use the coverage adjustment to show 3. This will bring one of our safeties down into the box outside the defensive end. Then we want to use the other safety and manually bring him down into the box on the opposite side of the other safety. Then I like to shade down and put hard flats onto the field and turn this into a drop zone. This will turn off the match coverage. Now what makes this work is both safeties are now in run fits, and they'll trigger down instantly on run reads, helping force outside runs back inside, or they can blow it up themselves. Then the front creates a 5-man line with our 4 defensive linemen and 1 linebacker down on the ball, meaning we're extremely gap sound and we have strength on the edges. Then the D-line and on-ball linebacker can knife aggressively into the backfield and disrupt blocking schemes with early penetration. Then their ability to be stout up front can free up our 2 off-ball linebackers to scrape and flow cleanly to the ball. Then if the offense does decide to pass, we are still going to be in a good spot. Our hard flats can lock down anything short, while our 4 deep defenders play over the top and our 3-rack hook linebacker protects the middle of the field. So this quarter's run D is going to be a great early down call. It can shut down outside zone and stretch plays and force them back inside, and it'll help us set the tone physically right out of the gate. Then we have SS Blitz 3. This is the perfect pressure call to pair with our cover 4 quarters run D. It builds off the same pre-snap structure, but now we're sending an aggressive blitz off the edge to attack the offense, and this call lets us be extremely aggressive versus both the run and the pass. Now to set this up, just call SS Blitz 3 at a 4-3 over walk. Then we want to slant our D-line out, then bring your 3-rec defender down 1 to 2 steps closer to the line. Then we can also shade up or down with our coverage, so you can just adjust your flats how you want them to play. Then after the snap, this walk down safety will be super aggressively blitzing off the edge, and he can blow up run plays. Plus we do have 8 players in the box on this play, which can really still make this a very solid run defense. Then if the offense does decide to pass, this strong safety blitz becomes a free rusher off the edge and can create a ton of havoc, and really just comes in free a ton at the quarterback. Then for the rest of our pass defense, it's a cover 3 shell, so 3 deep defenders playing over the top. We have our 2 players in the flat, and then as your user, you're going to be the 3-rack hook, and you're going to be responsible to lock down the middle of the field. Now, just what you have here for this USC 4-3 defense will be a great start, but remember, there's part 2 of this defense already up on Scheme Kings that can help take this 4-3 scheme to a whole nother level. And then if you want a full breakdown of the overall vision behind this Legion of Troy defense, including a deep dive into the personnel we're going to be using and how it all ties together, make sure to check out the intro video for the entire scheme right here.